What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and today we're back with another one of our Friday community streams where we all get together and talk about whatever strange or interesting topic that I've concocted for the week. So I'd like to say hello to all the folks who are here today. I'm trying to reach something, and this stupid backdrop is in my way once again. Say hello to those who've shown up. First of all, Pine, Ohio, who sent a super chat before the stream. Thank you very much. Kuchia, Mylan, Carlos Beltran, Pavel, 3x0, Arya, Alejandro, Daigo, Vladislav, Julian, Anton, Gavin, Sabia. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate. I always appreciate it when people come to the streams because it's nice to have a crowd here to talk about interesting stuff related to Emacs and geeks and whatever else we like on this channel. Hello to Lova. Okay, so updates. So I'm actually gonna try shutting down the System Crafter store next week, and I'll tell you why. The way that I've got things set up right now is I've got like a Shopify store that has another service behind it for doing print fulfillment. And the thing about running a Shopify store is if you're selling things internationally, it costs like $80 a month to keep the thing online. And if there's times whenever people aren't really buying anything because I'm not really trying to talk about buying things from the store all the time, it's probably better to just turn it off when it's not being used. So I think next week I'm going to turn that off, just letting you know in case anybody was thinking about going there and getting anything. And then after the next week I'll turn it off for a bit, and then I might switch to a different provider that's a little bit less of a hassle. So we'll probably start it up again, maybe with some new stuff in I don't know, a couple months. I need to come up with some more time to actually do that. But yeah, Case says, oh Lord, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot to pay for just having a web store. I mean, it's good software, but if you're not doing a lot of business on there, then it's not really worth it. Also, another interesting thing that came across my Twitter feed today was that Slackware 15 released today. Which is interesting because if you don't really know much about Slackware, the Linux distribution, or follow its development, the last release, Slackware 14, was over 10 years ago. So I think it was something like that. So I thought it was kind of funny because this actually was the first Linux distribution that I ever used back in, I want to say probably 1995 or 1996. I used Slackware 1 or 2. I don't know which version it was, but yeah, that was the very first one I used, so it's kind of funny to see a new release of that show up. And in typical style, they are kind of, cheeky with the wording here. Well, folks, in spite of the dire predictions of YouTube pundits, this morning the Slack hog emerged from its development den, did not see its shadow, and Slackware 15.0 has finally been released. Another 6 weeks or years of the development treadmill averted. So basically, just making light of the situation that plenty of people have noticed they haven't released anything in a while. Yeah, so it's kind of funny if you want to just take a look at that, posting. I would actually like to try Slackware again at some point. Maybe one day on a stream we'll just boot it up in a VM and see how it works. But it is pretty bare bones compared to modern Linux distributions. So it probably would be interesting just to check it out as a comparison to some of the other things that we've been looking at so far. Case says, is Slackware a good distro to use? I don't know. I mean, it's definitely got its own charm, but I don't really know these days whether it's good to use. They say here that they actually added support for PAM, which is something that has been around in Linux forever. They switched to elognd, which is a little bit more common these days for login seats. They added support for Pipewire and Pulse Audio. So they've made great strides in modernizing, but who knows? Alejandro asks, are you switching from Qt Browser to Firefox? Not on purpose. Something happened in the latest build of Qt Browser that I got from Geeks, where half the time fonts don't render. So I'm having to use Firefox just as a way to look at web pages on stream. So I'll go back to Qt Browser as soon as I try to update again, and hopefully it will be fixed. Cashew Trader says, nice haircut. Thanks, I did it myself. You know, with the pandemic and with my ongoing, journey towards baldness, it just makes more sense to just shave my hair with a razor instead of going and paying somewhere. Lord Devi says, Slackware used to be known or thought of as the only true Linux. Yes, it is definitely funny in that it's kind of like the first meme Linux, even though it was probably the first Linux distribution or one of the oldest Linux distributions. Slackware is kind of inspired by, what is it called? It's like, Jesus. It's the one with the Bob guy. I think Case knows what it's called. Oh, the Church of the Subgenius. That's what it is. It's Church of the Subgenius. So, oh God, I get this pop up all the time. Yes, thank you. Go away. Church of the Subgenius is basically a fake religion, a satire, and one of their things is the quality of Slack. The quality of Slack is of utmost importance, but has never been clearly defined. Well, that's where the Slack and Slackware came from. It's sort of just like a sarcastic Linux distribution. Let's see. Himanshu says, does Geeks have a decent battery life for laptops? Yeah, I mean, it does for me. It depends on how you set it up. Gavin says, I know that Slackware has a makefile format for packages, kind of like the Aura uses. I've heard some say that's why they like it. Yeah, definitely they focus more on building packages from source. Case says, it's still a real religion, even if it is satire. Sure. It's as real as you want it to be. So yeah, Slackware Linux 15, that's cool. You should go try it out. I'll probably do that at some point, just out of pure nostalgia. Did I miss anything else in the chat? All right, so the next thing I wanted to bring up today. So I would love to get your opinion. I've been thinking about this a while now, obviously. You've probably heard me mention it before. I've probably even talked about it on the stream before in a similar way to this. But I'm bringing it up again just because I'm thinking about it again. I would like to try and publish an ebook on a topic that would be valuable to the people who watch this channel. Basically about something related to what we talk about. It doesn't necessarily have to be, strictly Emacs, but I'm kind of interested to get your thoughts on what a topic for such an ebook might be. And I'm thinking something not too long. I needed to learn how to actually write a book. Writing show notes for videos is fairly straightforward because it's very focused on one topic. But writing a book requires a little bit more effort. So I'm going to try to do something relatively, short. Let's say 50 to 100 pages max. So I'm interested in thoughts on sort of what types of things you would be interested to see. Generally in the areas of or Emacs or programming or workflow productivity, or you could call it building crafting skills, the sort of the higher level thinking about programming, or how you learn to sort of put things together. So certainly interested in any thoughts that people have either live here in the chat, or if you're watching the recording, just let me know what you think. Shabam says, could you elaborate on programming? Yeah, programming languages. Programming languages in specific, or maybe certain types of programming, Lisp type programming, or I don't know, configuring things, I suppose. Let's see. Benoit says ASCII doc is a good markup for ebooks. Yeah, it should be pretty good. Elea says there should be more Emacs fan fiction. That's kind of an interesting idea. Hadn't thought about that. Cashy Trader says there's good stuff on Emacs. There's good stuff on GTD. I like a good combination of Emacs system crafting focused on productivity workflows. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking too, to be honest. Let's see, what was it? How to move to a different continent and keep your sanity. I have not accomplished that, so What you see here is a perfectly crafted facade, and, you know, it looks like I'm awake right now, but I'm actually, like, you know, 1 foot out of the bed at the moment because I am not sleeping enough. Ashraz provides an interesting idea. Cutting the electronic chain, how to get the most out of your machine and keep your internet time to a minimum. I don't really have a suggestion on that, to be honest. I would make the book in org mode. Hey, Felipe. But that's sort of another point is, you know, how would you want to read the book? Like, what format? Because, you know, obviously it could be EPUB, right? There's also a PDF, which to me is a kind of a boring format because it's not really convenient to read. I've also thought about putting something out in info format. It's kind of weird to do that, but I don't know. For this audience, it might actually make sense to have it in info format so you could load it up into Emacs. Gavin says, I'd be interested in the internals of a language or maybe functional programming. It's been a long time since I've seen anything about the theoretical benefit of dynamic functional programming. Yeah, definitely. Oh, you're right. Gunn says, where is the chat mirroring on screen? Where is it? That's a great question. Text info, Felipe says. Yeah, where is the chat thing? Let's see. Properties. Can I refresh this thing? I don't know how to force it to do that otherwise. Sorry, folks. 1 second. Here, I'm going to switch something real quick. I don't see it doing anything. The chat is coming from in the house. I was not prepared to pull up a chat on the screen. It would be nice to have it. I don't know why this thing's not working anymore. Maybe my login token expired. So let me answer some things real quick, and then I'll try to get the chat pulled up. Yeah, I've lost my place here. You know, it'd be nice to have this on screen. Jeez. Hexing the code interview is a really wonderful story about using Haskell in a code interview. Could be make a consing the code interview. That's an interesting idea. Okay, let me do something real quick. I'm gonna show you my happy face here and my terrible hair situation. Let's see. I'm gonna load up Firefox real quick. If it loads. And then I'm gonna try to pull the chat up on the screen. Abadan says a reproducible environment would be great. At the moment I'm still on Windows plus WSL2. Yeah, that's where we're going with the Geeks videos, but that's, you know, a whole thing in itself. Okay, let me grab the live chat. This is really annoying, to be honest. Come on, come on, come on. Pop out chat. Okay. Can I float this? Don't really want to, but we're gonna have to. Case says, isn't the point of text info that it can output to like PDO info, etc.? Yeah. Sorry, this slowing the stream down incredibly. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, 1 sec. Hey, Jerry. Put it back on the screen. Okay, so let's put this on workspace 1. Cool. See if I can float it this time, if it makes it usable. Okay, sorry, that took way too long. I'll have to check these things from the chat after the stream, I think. But anyway, if you have more thoughts on that, please let me know, because I'm curious to get something like this going. I want to sort of expand what I'm doing out into some other places, and this might be a pretty easy way to get started with that. Pavel says, I maybe propose a more structured piece about Geeks, how to make a system for some specific use cases. That could be... Geeks is so much more complicated than Emacs, though, as far as making content is concerned. All right. So let me just jump into what we're going to talk about today, which is using the Customize UI to build an Emacs configuration. So Mickey Peterson of Mastering Emacs, and I think I just found out that his name is spelled with an E here, of the book Mastering Emacs, you've probably seen him around in places. He has also a nice blog with a lot of articles. Recently wrote a blog post called Bad Emacs Advice, where he basically talks about a few pieces of advice about Emacs he's seen floating around the internet that he considers to be bad advice. Definitely check out the article if you are interested in that. But one of the things he mentions here, well, aside from disabling the menu bar, he basically says disabling it is bad advice, which, you know, I agree with for beginners. But saying that the customized interface is it's useful, and that especially if you're new to coming to Emacs, you can configure large swaths of Emacs core to your liking, and you can temporarily enable your changes for the current session only. Basically saying that, you know, if you're a beginner to Emacs, maybe this is the place you should go to configure Emacs. I don't disagree with that. I don't think that customized interface is a bad thing to use. Personally, I feel like, you know, I'm a programmer, and I would much prefer to deal with things in terms of in terms of code and not in terms of UI. But, you know, Emacs has many different potential types of users. So what we're going to do today is try to figure out how much you can do with the customized interface in Emacs. And if you don't know what the customized interface is, it's basically a user interface for Emacs, setting Emacs variables and setting up modes and all that kind of thing. So, whoops. So it is something that you could try if you wanted to have a different approach to configuring Emacs. So let's see. What we're going to do is we're basically going to do sort of like an Emacs from scratch a little bit, in that we're going to start from a blank configuration, and we're going to see how much we can actually configure using the customized UI. And then after we get some of that stuff done, we're going to take a look at the init.el file that it generates and see what we think about the way it looks. And also, you know, talk maybe about how well you could mix a handwritten configuration with something like this. So let's have some goals maybe for what we're going to try to set up in this configuration. Obviously, you would want to set the theme and the font, which are probably pretty straightforward to do with a customized interface. But also things like adding hooks. I'm not exactly sure how hooks work in the customized interface, if you can do that easily, but I would imagine you could, since it's a fairly important part of Emacs configuration. Also tweaking some org mode settings. We could play around with that a little bit, since there's a lot of settings there that could be configured. Gavin says, I wonder how hard it would be to write the menu bar. Probably harder, but we should look at it just to see what that interface might look like. Customizing the mode line. Oh, menu bar. Are you talking about the actual menu bar? No, you could definitely do some stuff in the menu bar. That's for sure. Pavel says custom set variables and a million lines to follow. Yeah, something like that. Also, if we can try to install and configure community packages like Vertigo and Marginalia, just to try to set something like that up. And then also testing that the configuration can successfully initialize in a new Emacs install. So say, for instance, you've got this customized UI-based configuration checked into your Git repository, your .files repository, and you want to pull it down to another machine. Can it pull all your stuff back into... sorry, can it reinstall all your packages? Lost my train of thought. Pavel says, maybe try to install evil mode with only UI. Yeah, we can do that. Install and set up evil mode. Case says I need to customize my tab bar better. You know, you could do that. Just takes some time. We all have too many projects going on at the same time. All right. Anything else? We can come up with ideas as we go. Yeah, I know this chat box hanging out here is a little bit annoying for sure. Let's see. Gunn says the result of customizing capture templates is butt ugly. I'd rather do it in one string using and stuff. Yeah, I would imagine capture templates are going to be really interesting looking. Christopher says, did you already mention creating a custom file? We'll talk about that, I think, as we get a little bit further in here. I have talked about it in other contexts on the channel before, though. Hey, by the way, Christopher has some videos on Emacs on YouTube as well, I think. So let's see. Gavin says either one. I never looked at using the menu bar, but I'm sure customizing would be a useful skill for new users to have. It could be. Elias says you can customize evil variables, but there are too many functions that require eLisp intervention. That's kind of what I guess in a lot of cases is that whenever you define variables for packages using def custom, I mean it does show up in the customized UI, but is the package really designed in a way where the customized UI based configuration would work well with the package? Yanni says Magit. Yeah, we could try that one too. I don't know. That one, I don't really configure Magit very much, to be honest. I just kind of install it and use it, so. Dark Spy says, instead of evil mode, what about God mode or something similar, closer to Emacs default for a change? I haven't used God mode. I know what it does, but I'm not familiar enough with it. Let's just try some stuff though. So I'm gonna jump over to a blank Emacs config here, and let me try to, let me try to zoom in on the text a little bit. Text, scale, adjust. Let's go up a little bit. That's too big right there. Okay, so first of all, I'm definitely going to change this theme. Let me go into, so I'm going to run metax, and then I'm going to run the customize command. And that brings up this customization UI. Elias says it's Magit. I always pronounced it Maggot. I used to pronounce it Maggot, and it turns out that is not the intended pronunciation. You can't edit this part of the custom buffer. Text scale adjust. Can I do that? Okay, cool. If you go look at the Magit website, there's a pronunciation guide for it, which sounds like you're supposed to be like magic, but git instead. All right, so let's see. I don't really use this very much, so we're just going to sort of look over it and see what we can see from here. So there's a search box, which seems like Maggot is more fun to say. I agree. There's a search box for finding things in the configuration. There's also groups. If you've ever written a package before and you've set custom variables or you define a mode, there's a group field. That's sort of what this group is here, is like the group of the variable. To put it into high-level categories to make things easier to find. So we're looking for a theme. In fact, I could probably just type theme in here and press enter. Custom enabled themes. I hate that it keeps changing the font size. Maybe that's the first thing I should do. Let's see. What about font selection order, font lock? What about, what's the name of the variable? I'm kind of cheating a little bit here, but it's the default face. What's happening? Default face. Custom face default form. It doesn't sound right. Okay, so how do I go back to the main view? Okay, so customize. So let's see, faces, support for multiple fonts. Okay. Face X resources, basic faces. Okay, here we go. Default face. How about that? So we go into default. We can change the font foundry. What if I say JetBrains Mono here? Okay. And then I change that value. I'm gonna click state here. I'm gonna click save for future sessions because I want this to be saved as part of my configuration. So it did seem to change the font face. I'll change the height here to, let's see, 220 because I have this high-res display. Save for future sessions. That's a little bit too big. What about 210? Save for future sessions. There must be a key binding for this that is a little bit more amenable to me tweaking things. Okay, so what is it? Customize, save. Yes, customize, save, customize. That's probably what it was. Let me see. What else? Ah, why is this thing jumping around so much? Mohammed asks, is your eLisp code that isolates buffer lists to their corresponding tab available anywhere? It's in my Geeks Home branch on my .files repo, but I'm a little bit annoyed by that functionality that I added right now, so I'm wondering whether I want to just take that out. Okay, so let's see. We changed the font. That's cool. What about, let's see, parent group faces, control, really? Is it just Control X, Control S? Save all settings? Wow. Okay, cool. Thanks, Ashraz. And you can see down here that it wrote init.el, so it definitely is writing out our config file. Okay, so faces, let's see, color theme. Does it work like that? No customizable group. Let's see, custom theme directory, custom enabled themes. How about that? Click. All right, so here, this is one thing of the UI that's kind of weird looking. I think this is meant to be a list, and there's no items here yet. There's this insert button, which I guess you have to sort of guess it means insert. Unless you hover over the button, it says insert a new item into the list. And it doesn't really give us any hints on what the themes are here. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but how about we do Modus Vivendi? And then, was it just Control X, Control S? Yes. Okay, that didn't do anything. What about this? Nope. Do I need to take the symbol name off? Ah, okay, it did something. That doesn't look right, though. I'm sorry, I can't read your name, but it says, how do you access the customization buffer? Use Alt-X in the Emacs session, and then type in Customize. And then you'll get that buffer. You can also hit enter on a button without using the mouse. Yeah, I think maybe I should take... Oh, great. Let me go to vterm. What's the button for pulling something back? Oh, is it still? It's still running. Never mind. Uh-oh. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to turn off evil mode, and I did that realizing that I don't have evil mode set up in here yet. So I'm trying to move around the buffer. Just like Gun said, you could put your cursor on the button. Theme is usually customized via customize theme. Well, maybe it is. Let's see. Let me delete this. Let's just go back to where we were. Save for current sessions. Customize theme. Themes? Ah, that's much better. Okay, so the customized theme seems to be the one you want to use for choosing themes. So let's just select Modus Vivendi here. Save theme settings. Still is not working correctly. Your custom settings take precedence over theme settings. To migrate your settings into a theme, click here. Interesting. So let's do that. Let's just restart Emacs and see. I'm going to save the theme settings. I'm going to save the customization settings. I'm going to close out Emacs. Then we're going to launch it again. Okay, so something's not right with the themes. Let's see if I run some other theme. Customize themes. Let's uncheck Vivendi and then check, which one is the one I like? Deeper blue. Yeah, neither of these are working well. That's so strange. I don't get it. Well, let's just check it anyway. Options, customize Emacs. Okay, cool. So in the options menu, customize Emacs, customize themes. There's also browse customization groups, saved options. There's a lot of stuff you can do here, obviously. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I didn't want to look at the init file until later, but maybe we're going to have to because obviously something got jacked up in there. So let's take a look at init.el. Excuse me. So I only see the default face being set right now. So I don't know why it's upset. Excuse me. Unless what happened is, oh yeah, Okay, so this is the problem right here, I think. All of this stuff got set by the customization system. Let me save it now. And then exit Emacs. Let's just see. That's probably what it was. The default font face got set. Okay. Yeah, so that's a problem. If you go edit a face, they've got all those checkboxes checked already for all the settings. You don't want to do that in most cases, I think. Helio says, I think you need to uncheck foreground and background in customize face. You're right. Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so now we're back to checking things out. Let's run customize again. And what did we say we wanted to do? Let's see. We have theme set up. We have font set up. Add hooks to configure modes. So let's say, what about hooks? I'm just going to type in hook here. Okay, so we have the ability to access hooks. Let's see, what kind of hook would we want to set? I mean, we could do like an after save hook. Let's try this really quick. After save hook. And, okay, so there's already a couple of after save hooks that seem to be in place. And it's kind of nice you can see them listed like that. What if I want to insert one? And what if I want to executable make buffer file, whatever? What if I want to make it local to only a specific mode? Normal hook, that is, all right, they give you documentation here, which is nice. Yeah, I don't think I can set this in a way that makes it only active for a particular mode unless there's a way to run customize with respect to the current mode somewhere. Let's see, customize mode. Oh, customize mode, how about that? Let's see. Come on now. Come on now. Oh, jeez. What's happening? Trying to use Alt-X. Customize mode. Mode. Org mode. No match. I'm sorry, what? Org? Org mode comes with Emacs. What's the problem? Let's see, we have a bunch of other modes I don't really care too much about. VC mode, visual line mode. Do I need to require org? Oh, wow, okay. Let's try that again. Customize mode, org mode. All right, there we go. So requiring things by default doesn't seem to be a thing. Of course, we don't necessarily need to do that. Lord Devi says this music has a bit of a Leisure Suit Larry vibe to it. I wouldn't call it that lecherous, would you? Okay, so this seems to be only specific to org variables. I'm trying to customize any variable with respect to a particular mode. Org mode hook, sure. Some interesting stuff in there. Okay, so it's not what I'm looking for. Parent group. All right, so we're at the top level again. Let's see, environment. Just kind of curious what else is around. There's some DRED customization settings. Is there like an up command, customize? There's an org customize function, interesting. Up, unsaved, okay. Let's see, org customize, let's try that. Probably just brings you to the same page. Oh, wow, what is this? Never seen this screen before. It's like, it's always a customized browser. Let's see, customize browse. So this is like some way to more easily browse the available options. So what this is? Yeah, okay, so at least this seems a little bit more friendly to navigation. Can you search this? Let's see, org, no, you can't search it because it needs to expand everything. Can I expand everything? Plus sign to expand a group, minus sign to collapse an expanded group. It's not working. This is what happens whenever you let programmers decide on the graphical user interface. Okay, well, that's not working. Let's see, what else? What does WP mean? Support for editing text files. Is that like WordPerfect? Text. What does WP mean? There's a bunch of writing stuff, that's for sure. Control U tab a couple times. We could try that. Let's see. Let's go to customize, browse. Control U tab, Control U tab, tab, shift tab. None of the normal things work for that. Org is under applications. All right, so yeah, WP is probably word processing for sure. All right, so still thinking about that hook. So if I wanted to say that an after save hook only in org mode, how would I do that? So let's see. After save. Used only by save buffer. So org babel tangle. Let's just save that. Save for future sessions. Now what if I go and okay, so it is tangling everywhere, obviously, because we added it to the main hook. If we go check out the init.el, yeah, custom set variables has after save hook with that placed in it. So I'm getting the impression that this thing is not extremely flexible when it comes to alternate parameters to functions that it might be, or variables it might be configuring. But then again, yeah, normally you would use the add hook function to have that last parameter. Well, I guess, let's see. Customize. Local? No. Buffer? No. What else is under customize? Group mode. Save variable, set value. Customize variable. Man, that's probably what we think it is. A customized rogue, what is that? Yeah, what am I looking at? Baud rate, great. Okay, I'm seeing some hooks here. I don't know what I'm looking at. What is customize rogue? Okay, let's use Control HF, customize rogue. Customize all user variables modified outside customize. Well, why do you think that's the case? Because I don't have any of these things in init.el. I guess it's rogue variables. Org babel post tangle hook. Yeah, that would be only if you were tangling, I think. Maybe you could sneak in a lambda to org mode hook. Yeah, let's try that actually. Let's see if we can put something directly in. I guess it sort of defeats the purpose though. If you're just writing code directly in the customized interface, you might as well just write the code yourself. Customize hook. And we're gonna go to after save hook. We're gonna remove org babel tangle. Lambda, nothing, message, you saved. All right, so then we'll save this. Okay, so now if I save all settings in this buffer, yes, you save. Okay, so it actually does work to put a lambda in there, which is cool. What does it do in init.el? Okay. So just, it's able to take that lambda and make it executable. Nice. So you could do it yourself if you wanted to. If you knew enough Emacs Lisp and you wanted to use this UI for things, you could probably write a little bit of code to see what the major mode is and then only call org babel tangle, but that honestly seems like too much of a pain. Okay, so we answered that question. Tweak some org mode settings. Yeah, we looked at that before. I just searched for org. And it has to create the customization items. I guess it's scanning over all variables, searching for those with that in the name, and then generating the UI for that. Where is it? Okay. Too much stuff. Where is the Or, oh, sorry, customize. Let's just go back to the main page. Applications. Yeah, org is not here, is it? What is Oh, simple Emacs spreadsheets. Now, here's something that you get from looking at this. You see some names of things that you don't normally see, like SES, simple Emacs spreadsheet. I've never heard of that before. What is that? SES? Huh. Take a look at that another day. Hey, Anders. Okay, so back to applications, Emacs, text. Wonder if it's in that WP section. Okay. Org customize. I think that gave us that tree, didn't it? Where's all the org stuff? How about this? I'll type in org mode. I don't like how this search box works. I know it's because they're sort of faking an actual UI element here. Org mode line clock. Okay, click it. Wow. Yeah, sure. Why is it doing that? Yeah, I looked in the applications and I don't see it. Okay, so Pavel says customize group org. Thank you. Org. All right, here we go. So org mode settings. So, hey, Annikit. What will we change? Org tags. Org group tags. Auto align tags. So one thing I can see here is that there doesn't seem to be a logical order to the things you're being presented with. So org auto align tags does not seem like the most relevant thing that I would look for. And that's probably because there's not any extra metadata on these variables that have been defined to say, you know, what the ordering should be when they're being displayed in the customized UI. Add some to-do states. So where are those at? Oh yeah, to-do states. So let's go back up. Org to-do. Alejandro says, I believe it's alphabetical. Yeah, it is alphabetical for sure. It just, it doesn't help with discovery necessarily, unless you're looking for a very specific string. To-do interpretation, org to-do keywords. So we did find that there. So there's to-do, there's done, and then there's also no way. So I'll save that. So we did add one. If I were to go into an org test.org file and add a new heading, or actually use Control Alt, test item shift. Okay, so no way is a done task or a done state. Interesting. Yeah, and what Pavel says is true. The names that you see are just the names of the segments of the variable name. So org to do interpretation, if you were to look at Control HV org, Control HV org to do interpretation. So that's basically whatever variable or whatever name you see in these headings is basically the name of the variable. Hey, Minas Mazar. Yeah, Jafer says, how do you differentiate the done states from the to-do states in this one? That's a great question. Let's actually see what they do in init.el for that. So they have a sequence here. I wonder if you could just add the pipe character in the sequence. So let's go here. Insert pipe. Delete that. I guess this doesn't really prove anything though. I need to add a new line here actually, I think. Okay, let's save that. Go back into test.org. Huh. Oh, I need to run org mode again to pick up the changes. Okay, yeah, so putting the pipe character in the list does seem to work to distinguish between the not done and done states, but you have to know that. It doesn't tell you. Or does it? If you click more, it will tell you that the pipe character is needed. So I guess if you're trying to know what stuff goes in these variables, I mean, obviously it's the same as if you use Control HV and you looked at the variable name. You would have to look at the docs to know how to configure that variable. So I don't know. I mean, you get the documentation right here, which is useful. So you can sort of read what you need to set things to. What about level headings? I'm guessing you just need to go to customize faces for that. So customize faces, customize face. Let's just press enter there. Shabam says, it's far more difficult using customized UI. Well, it definitely is not as easy to get around. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, but org level. Okay, so org level 1. So if I look at what we have here, it's inheriting from Modus themes heading 1. So, you know, that's something we can actually do really quick. Let's check out the Modus themes settings. Oh, we jumped right into the theme. Let's see, customize face. If I type in Modus, does it give me everything Modus related? Amalvadia says, I need to change the banner on my channel. Yeah, I do need to change the banner on my channel. I'm sorry about that. That's one of those things that I never look at because I don't actually go to my channel page that often. So org heading, Modus themes heading 1. Okay. This is probably not the right way to customize that anyway. What I would like to do though is find the Modus settings. So how about customize group, Modus, theme, themes. There we go. Oh, I saw a faces list there. I wonder if that's also something. So if I use customize group, Modus, theme, faces. Cool. So there is a list here you can use. That's good. Jeff says, I used to always use the customized UI for configuring Emacs. Works fine, but once you're used to just writing the eLisp, that becomes easier, especially since all the examples on the web are in eLisp. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, like, to me, it just seems like if you're gonna invest in using Emacs, then you really should be trying to learn how to write Emacs Lisp because it's gonna give you the most power possible. Shabam says, the only advantage of customized UI is that we can find more about Emacs. Yeah, for beginners who haven't used it at all, it could be useful, but the fact that the settings are not really presented in an order that are what you'd be looking for first, you're kind of have to just read through the entire list. But I don't know, that's the thing you deal with when you're dealing with like a generated interface based on metadata. Pavel says, I think faces are actually a good use case for customize. You immediately see how the faces look. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we see all the faces here for Modus, though I think we're not really supposed to change these directly. We should use the settings in Modus. So for instance, let's see. Boolean toggle, bold constructs, so we'll turn those on. Let's see, control the styles of completions. See, now Modus is a good example of a package where you get a lot of value out of using the customization UI because there's a lot of little flags that you can set. And they have value menus for choices. Yeah, which, you know, gives you nice strings that explain what each of the settings are. Let's see, radical alternative. Italic constructs, let's turn those on. Let's see, what else? Themes, heading styles, look at that. A lot of checkboxes. What happens if we check these? Okay, that actually finally worked. Background color. Okay, let's put a background color on it. I'm gonna save this and then jump back over to our test.org file. Need to reload org mode. Yeah, so the setting did not seem to pop up instantly. I know there's a Modus. This is kind of cheating a little bit. Modus themes toggle. Modus themes toggle. All right. So, all right. Yeah. So the background does show up now. That's one problem I kind of have with Modus themes is if you're tweaking the settings on it, at least I haven't seen yet any other way to affect those changes without toggling the themes. All right. Oh, Minas Mazer says, I write my Emacs configs to be more general as possible and versioned. I apply my day-to-day customizations via Customize. That's interesting. All right, so we'll go back into... Well, let's see. Let's see. What else do we have on the list? Because that's kind of boring. Customizing the mode line. We'll get back to that. I'm not sure how good that's going to go. Let's see if we can set up packages. So I think that we probably have to use package install. So it's contacting Elpa now. Install package, let's see, Vertigo. Okay, so it's installing Vertigo now. That's great. Customize session or saving forever. Yeah, we're saving forever because we want to put it in init.el. Let's also use package install for marginalia. So now let's go into customize to turn this mode on. So like Vertigo mode, also marginalia. So if I go back into, well, let's just see, customize. All right, so how do I refresh this? Revert buffer. Okay. Console, we'll add that in a minute. And would it be under environment, I wonder? Hey, thanks a lot, Amalvedia, for the 20 and super chat. I really appreciate it. And there's the sound. Okay.
Thanks for the Emacs content.
Ah, you're welcome. You have such a nice voice, Amalvedia. Okay, so let's see. Let's just search for Vertigo, see if it shows up in the list. I'm betting it doesn't because I haven't loaded the package yet. But maybe it did because the package install gets it ready. All right, so let's see. Vertigo buffer mode. I don't think I want that. Vertigo mode. There it is right there. Non-nil if... sorry, Key. I tried turning the volume down. I think it is down compared to what it was before. All right, so I'm going to turn this on just by hitting toggle. I'm going to save it. Now let's hit Meta X. Okay, that did work. So we can use Vertigo after doing that. What about marginalia? Let's go to the top of the buffer here. Marginalia. All right, we turned that on. We saved that. And then Meta X. Okay, so, I mean, we installed the package using package install, which is the built-in package manager. Obviously, that works fine. But going and turning the mode variable on does seem to do the trick to turn the mode on, which is good. Let's go back to the Vertigo. Move the pop out. Is my head blocking it or something? Or maybe you're talking about something else. Let's see. Party Sepe says, what is your history with Emacs? I've been using Emacs for a while. But not as long as other people who watch this channel. Some people have been using Emacs for a very long time, which is awesome. I've been using it since probably... I've been using it seriously since probably about 2014, I would say. All right. What are we looking for? Vertigo again. The chat is visible. Oh, isn't... What is going on? Okay, so let's put this somewhere else. All it took was super chat to kick this thing back into gear. That's funny. Let me move this to the second workspace, maybe. Okay, cool. Now I can't see it, so I'm gonna have to look at the other screen to watch the chat. All right, so that's probably easier to look at now. Okay, so let's see. What else in Vertigo do we want to try to set really quickly? There's some grid stuff. We don't really need that. Mouse mode, mode hook, reverse mode. What is the one that I want to use? There's an extension I would really like to use, but I don't think it's in here. Here we go. The Vertigo group. Hide prompt. Number of candidates to show. Okay, so right now it shows 10 candidates, and in my taste, that's a little bit many because it, pops up a lot of rows on the bottom. I'm gonna change it to 7. That's more my style. Vertigo cycle. Yeah, I want that actually. I want it to cycle around to the back, so I'll click the toggle here. And then whenever I load Vertigo, I can go to the end easily. Okay, cool. Vertigo grid mode. I'm curious. I've never looked at this before. Let's just click that and see. Let's toggle it on. And then run it. Wow, that's interesting. I've never seen that. So what about customize? If you've never seen Vertigo grid mode before, here you go. Here's your first look at it. Kind of interesting. You lose marginalia though. I'll turn that back off because I prefer to have marginalia. Every time I say marginalia, I say it differently. So if you're paying attention, keep counting. Alejandro says, I've been using Emacs for over 20 years, never liked the customized UI, but I could see how it would be useful. Bill says since 1996. Anders says since 1985. And Yuka says from 1986. See, that's what I'm saying. There's people here who know a lot more than me. Yo Boy says, I don't really know what you're doing right now. We're looking at the customization UI in Emacs because we're trying to decide whether it is helpful or not. Case says marginolio. All right. Vertigo mouse mode, blah, blah, blah. Vertigo resize. Okay, we don't need to deal with that. Okay, so, I mean, that proved that we could do that. Let's check the init.el file and see what that is looking like right now. So the important thing, which I think is what might help us to restore a configuration on another machine, is this package selected packages variable. It tells us what packages have been installed. And if we were to go to the documentation for that, Control HV. This variable is fed automatically by Emacs when installing a new package. Yeah, so new package names are being added there. You can use it to reinstall packages on other machines by running package install selected packages. Cool. So it doesn't do it by default, but you could do it yourself if you wanted to. That's great. Steven says from 2018. Nice. Gunn says, started with micro Emacs on the Atari ST until Vim came around. You know, I would love to have used like an Atari ST, some of these other older computer systems. Ashra says, ravioli, give me the marginoli. Anders says, you have a V at the beginning of the file. Thank you very much. I don't know what I hit in the keyboard, but it started inserting random stuff. Are we lined up on the... Let's see, check parens. I think we're good, right? No, we're not. What? Okay, we're fine. All right, good. So back to it. What else do we want to look at? I mean, we kind of figured that stuff out. We could set up evil mode. I don't know how interesting that is right now. Tab bar. Let's check out the tab bar settings. Alejandro says, why some variables need to set via custom set variables and not with set Q? That's a great question. Let's take a look at that really quick. Let's see if we can understand why. Is there a set Q in here? Okay, probably not. So custom set variables is particularly for variables that are defined with the def custom. Is it a macro, I guess, maybe? It could be a command. So if I use Control HV after save hook, it's defined in files.el. Ah, come on. It can't load the gzipped elist files because I'm in a Geeks shell right now. Ashra says because def custom has a set keyword. Yeah, okay. You can customize this variable. So when you see this in documentation for a described variable, when it says you can customize this variable, it basically means it's a custom variable, and you can set it in the UI. And that's one of those that you can use custom set variables for. Anything else that was defined with def var, I think you have to use set Q for that. All right, so let's see what else would be interesting. If we were trying to create a whole Emacs configuration, what else would we want to set up? Ugh. Okay, I need to set up evil mode because I keep putting the wrong stuff in here. Jeez. I am totally destroying this configuration file because of the key binding dissonance. Package install. Evil. Let's go. I love how evil mode always just has a bunch of warnings every time you install it the first time. Is it done? Okay. We'll go in here and we will search for evil. Close this window, please. Ugh. There we go. And then evil mode. Cool. Expand that. What's the key to expand? You gotta put your cursor on this tiny little arrow here. Toggle that on. Save it. Now evil mode should be active. No, not here. What about in other... Wow, what just happened? Oh, I'm using my own key bindings in here, which is not gonna work. Okay, what? Did it again. Emacs. Evil. Wow, what is happening? Evil mode. Turn on evil mode. Is that working? No. I think I've made it worse. Fat Caterpillar says, just popped in to say thanks. Your videos got me up and running with Emacs, managing a small farm instead of more expensive proprietary project management software. Awesome. I would love to hear more about that. That's cool. Jeff says, in theory, some of the variables set with custom set variables have side effects that occur when the variable is set through customize. Using set Q on a customized variable avoids those side effects. Excuse me. Yes, that's a very important thing about def custom variables. It's not every variable is like that, but some variables are set up so that they have custom code that gets run anytime the variable gets set. And you definitely want to make sure that code gets run, because sometimes it configures some part of a package, and if you use set Q instead, then you're going to end up missing out on that functionality, and you may have your configuration in a bad state. Let's see. Ashra says, for example, if you customize Doom mode line mode to 1, the setter will call Doom mode line mode. If you just use set Q. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that's how that worked. That's great. Ander says to Fat Caterpillar to explain what you do. Yeah, definitely. If you're willing to tell us. Okay, so side effects are really meant only for runtime changes in the config. But they do get applied whenever you use the custom set variables, I think. Phil Gabb says Stefan Manier was my teacher at university. That's cool. Yeah, I heard that he was a professor. All right, so let's get back to it here. I'm trying to think of what we were going to do next. Tab bar. Let's see what we can do with the tab bar. Customize. I think I'm still in some half-baked evil mode too, which may end up biting me soon. F23A None says, is it possible to get a list of hooks modes triggered in Emacs? Like when I edit Python file, I have LSP triggered, and on save it applies isort. I want to get a list of all those entries. What you should do is inside of that buffer, use Control-HV and look for the hook in particular that might be getting triggered. Let's see. Yeah, so after save hook. Whoops, after save hook, or it could even be before save hook. That doesn't, it doesn't really tell you which hooks are going to be triggered and when, but if you kind of know which hook it should be, then you can take a look at the variable and it will tell you which functions are registered to it. Okay, so tab bar. Okay, so this This is a tab bar section. Whoa, what just happened? That's a face, that's why. Tab bar, close button, show. Well, first of all, let's turn on tab bar mode. We'll expand this little section here. Oh, come on. What did I do? Okay, so we're gonna toggle tab bar mode. I think there's other settings you can use for this too. Okay, I don't see any tabs. What is the tab bar show? Okay, right. So this is the one I want always. Well, you're not showing it, are you? Control X T N. All right, so we have two tabs. If I can't even see where the mouse is. What's going on here? Did I seriously lose the ability to use a mouse? There we are. Wow. Okay. Control X T N. Now the tab bar is deciding to show up whenever it pleases at this point. Okay, so we got it now. So we can also set the close button show, which I just used it and it was kind of useful, but I'm going to turn it off. On all tabs, on selected tab, on non-selected tab. So let's just say only have the button on selected tabs. I don't know. Then if I add another tab, Control X T N, then it doesn't show up on here. That's cool. Yuka says, I've used Emacs for a long time, but still in a quite basic level. Even more important for me is Emacs key bindings. Most Mac Linux software has basic Emacs key bindings. That's true. Alejandro says, I believe it's possible to just use one frame per monitor in EXWM and replicate some of its functionality with tab bar that will be more flexible than workspaces. That's what I've been doing so far, is I'm using tab bar mode to do sub workspaces effectively. Okay, what else? The tab bar face. Let's see if we can just customize that a little bit. So here's an interesting thing to try. Let's try setting a color here. We're gonna colorize a tab bar. We got this nice list of colors that we can pick from. I would pick the hot pink, but this is not the Emacs from Hell stream. This is a more normal friendly stream. So let's just go with something a little less garish. How about this royal blue one? That's kind of nice. And if I save it, it does update the color, which is great. And what about the other faces? Does it show them here? Tab bar faces. Cool. We click that. So this is much easier than what I was doing that other stream where we were trying to customize a tab bar. If I just came here, then it would be much more easy to set these colors. So box around the text. If I uncheck the box, what does it do? Oh, okay. The background color for the selected tab, we could pick something like a orange. This is going to be really bad. Okay, that's way too bright. How about like a darker color of some sort? Anything more similar to the background color? There's like the royal colors. Where's the royal? I'm not in the right buffer for that. Is that better? Probably need to it's okay. So it does work pretty well for that purpose. Jackson says, I've never seen the list colors displayed before. That's cool. Yeah, that is definitely useful for sure. Fat Caterpillar says, heavy usage of org mode for maintaining all records and setting the planting schedule. I also auto export as HTML to a server for usage in the field on mobile devices. That's super cool. Being able to easily print a farm almanac for redundancy is pretty nice also. Yeah, that's really cool. You know, I've heard you know, stories of various people who are not in the programming field who have their own businesses using Emacs in interesting ways. Like there was somebody who was managing their own bakery with Emacs in org mode. Also heard of lawyers using Emacs as well. So, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are not programmers by trade who are using Emacs, which I think is amazing. YouTube is telling me I have one concurrent viewer. I think something blew up. Okay, so all right, we customized the tab bar a little bit here. We got the faces set up. If we go back to the tab bar settings, is there anything else that we would want to set on that? I wonder about the what's it called? The tab bar format. Group format function format. Let's see what else we have for format. Oh, come on. Andre says there are mining software based on Emacs. That sounds scary. Let's see. Tab bar name format function. Where is it? Come on. Tab bar. What? Bar format. Tab bar format. There it is, right there in front of my face. Oh, cool. So they have some checkboxes here. You can even put the global part of the mode line inside of that. So I'm kind of replicating my own setup a little bit here. Let's do that. Tab bar format global. I'm going to save this. Save for future sessions. So nothing is there yet. But what we're going to do is now go look at the display time mode. So I'm going to put the clock up there in the tab bar. Toggle it on. State, save for future sessions. Oh, it's right there. It's just not in the right place. Let me go back to tab bar format. Is it here? Right there. I also need to put these, what is it? Align right on that. Click that and then save it. Cool. So that did work. I mean, I was able to set this up just purely with the UI, but I knew the settings were there. Antonio says, I've been using Emacs since 1990 something. I think it was version 18 or 19. Flirted sometime with Emacs and came back to Emacs until today. Yeah, I love hearing stories about that. People who've been using Emacs forever, because if people say that Emacs is kind of irrelevant, they need to talk to the people who've been using it for a very long time, because it's actually useful for that long. And I'm sure for the people who have been using it that long, it's gotten way, way better over the years. Okay, let's see. Tab bar is good now. Mode line. Let's check out the mode line. Mode line format. Let's just see about what we can do there. LM. Mode line position line format. Mode line format. Okay. So this one just gives us a long variable that we would have to edit ourselves. Not so nice. But I'm guessing they don't expect that you would be doing that. Okay. I mean, you could take things out of here if you wanted to. Like, let's say you wanted to take out the, well, you don't really want to take out the little, whatever this thing you call that is, the modified strings. We could take out the global, oh no, I think it's in misc info, isn't it? Properties control HV, mode line misc info. Okay, it just has a global mode string. If you took that out, though, you would be in trouble, because I think other packages put some of their stuff there. But we could edit that. Mode line misc info. Is it in here? Oh, I bet it's not customizable. Let's check the variable. Mode line. Come on. Mode line misc info. Value is global mode string. It is not customizable. Okay, that makes sense. So then, there's other stuff from the mode line you could customize from other packages, like the appointment display mode line. I don't really use that, but. Antonio says, does it make sense to use straight over plain use package? What's your opinion? For me, I like straight because it allows me to easily pull in packages from Git repositories on GitHub or GitLab or whatever, which is useful for some of my own packages that I haven't actually published anywhere, but I don't want to have it, you know, the package code sitting around in my .files repository. It's not so easy with package.el. And it's better if you're a package developer also, because if you're like cloning packages, or if you want to install a package that you want to develop at the same time, Straight makes that a lot easier because you have package or functions for managing the state of the repository that the package comes from. You want to like have branches or merge changes from upstream, that kind of thing. So for me, it definitely makes sense to use straight.el. But if you don't need that kind of functionality and you don't need like the package pinning functionality where you always get the same version, which to me doesn't work so perfectly. I just don't use that functionality because I never get it to work right. Then I don't know, you don't really need straight.el. Package.el works more or less fine. One of the biggest problems I have with package.el is that whenever you try to install a package, if your package archive, your local package archive is out of date, then it will tell you that it can't find the package. I thought that using Straight would solve that problem, but it actually doesn't seem to. Sometimes if your package archive is out of date from Straight's point of view, you still have a similar issue. So I don't know. Is there a cat walking on a keyboard? Oh yeah, is this piano love person? Who knows, man? So let's talk about this for a second. Let me put this person in timeout a little bit. So something weird about streaming is that sometimes after some amount of time, like let's say 1 hour, YouTube starts promoting the stream to other people, and just random folks will show up and start saying weird stuff in the chat. So it's just something you gotta kind of keep a lookout for whenever you're streaming on YouTube. I'm sure it happens on Twitch also. Okay, so what else did I have in the list of things to do? So we set up Vertigo and Marginalia. I mean, we could add more packages, but that's kind of boring, I guess. Customizing the mode line, we tried a little bit. Org mode settings, kind of boring. So in the end, the init.el file, come on, where is it? Init.el. There's not any real code in here per se. It's actually a big block of customized set variables. So this function, if you look at the documentation, install user customizations of variable values specified in args. These settings are registered as theme users. So it's basically creating a custom theme. We haven't really talked about this much, I think, on the channel, but in Emacs, the concept of a theme is not really so much about a color theme as it is about a collection of settings that get applied to Emacs. So you can have multiple themes applied at the same time, which can do things like set faces or set variables in Emacs. So themes are kind of powerful in that regard. What happens here is that custom set variables creates a theme called user and then sets all these variables in that theme. So it's kind of like key value pairs in that you have customized set variable and then you have lists for each variables you want to set. You can tell that it's a list by the fact that it has the single quote, not semicolon, for those of you who saw the video on Monday. The single quote around or at the beginning of the parentheses means that it is a list, and then the variable name is the first item and the value is the second item. So customized set variables just takes a whole list of lists and then sets all those variables that you have here to the specified value. And that's basically how the customized UI is going to customize Emacs for you. There's also the custom set faces, which is a very similar thing where you have a list of faces that are being customized, and then you have all the face properties that are the sort of the value of the key value pair to everything that goes in there. So it doesn't generate code for you per se. It actually generates a couple function calls that can set all the variables directly. Now, it is possible to go in this file and start adding your own code above this. So if we wanted to do the thing we mentioned before, where we would have, like, so let's say let me turn off evil mode in this thing. Turn off evil mode. Turn it off. Is it off? Great. Defun my org save hook. Org babel. Well, I don't really need to do that, do I? Let's just do it like this. Add hook. Whoops. Add hook. After save hook. I think it's what is the syntax for this? Depth and local. I think depth can be nil. Yeah, nil, and then local is T. But that's only in the current buffer. So we need two things, actually. Add hook org mode hook. And then we can have this be a lambda that does add hook after save hook nil t that only sets it for that that buffer. So if I were to use Control X, Control E here, I think that sets it, even though it's got a lot of garbage that it spits out. And then if we were to go into, well, let's see, let's kill that buffer first. Test.org. No. Save it. Let's just go to test. What is happening? I keep hitting the wrong keys because I'm expecting my own custom key bindings. I'll save it first, kill it. Okay, and then now if I reopen test.org, no changes need to be saved. If I change the file a little bit, symbols function definition is void. Anyway, you can go into init.el and add your own code, whatever you want to do. If I check the, come on. I keep hitting escape because I'm a nasty evil mode user. After save hook, let's check out what it says here. So we, I must have added a nil there incorrectly. Init.el. What did I do? Add hook. After, oh, yeah, my bad. I need to do, whoa. Turn off evil mode. Org, babel, tangle. That's the actual thing I want here. So I can save that. Go back into test.org, kill it. Open it again. Edit the file. Turn off evil mode. Evil mode has become a liability here. I think it probably did run it. Let's look at the message buffer. Probably because the hook crashed. Ashra says you're still using a lot of key bindings for just using the UI. Yeah, well, I mean, the keyboard bindings are part of the UI, so I'm not really cheating, am I? Okay. So, I guess the conclusions you can really say are that the customized system can write out your init.el file to be loaded again on future sessions. You can customize the, well, you can add custom elisp inside of the file. Now I wonder if, what if I added some code after all the stuff at the bottom? So if I were to take this bit here, come on. Turn off evil mode. Let's just get rid of that. What is it? Control W. Jump to the bottom of the file here. I'm going to paste it in. Oops. What did I do wrong? What is it? Kill ring? Kill. All right, let's undo the change. I'm trying to get back to what I had before. What is happening? I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Control Y, yeah, I know, but something else happened. I've been copying the whole file contents, apparently. I don't know why I did that. Let's delete all this. All right, let's just write something. Message config is loaded. Okay, we're gonna save that. Now I'm gonna go back into the customize UI. And let's see, editing. What about, let's just see tab width. Tab width, we're gonna change this to 2. Save it. And then I'm gonna go back into init.el. Tab width is 2, but the code that we added is still down there. So apparently it loads up the file. It can figure out where the customized stuff is in the file, and then update it in place without having to mess with your other code. So if you wanted to add code after the config block, you could do that. Another thing that I think Christopher brought it up earlier is that there is the ability to set the custom file somewhere else. So if I were to go and turn off Evo mode again, set Q custom file, I believe custom file is the name of the variable. File used for storing customization information. Let's say expand file name, user Emacs directory, custom.el. Let's double check that to make sure it gives a good path. No. Why not? Maybe I need to concat those. Is it pin the right one? No. Concat. Yeah, whoop. Don't need that. All right, so now if I run that, cool. So that gives me the right file path. If I save this, then if I go back into the customize interface, and I'll just set that to 3, which is totally bogus, but whatever. Now we can go look into custom.el, and all this stuff is there, but I wonder if it's still in the init.el file. Okay, so it's not so smart that it can remove the stuff that we added to init.el. But at least we can move that stuff out of our main init.el file if we wanted to. If you wanted to keep your init.el file a little bit cleaner and still use customize for some things, you can set the custom file to a different path, and then it will stay in that custom.el file so it does not interfere with your handcrafted init.el sections. So let's put that in the notes as well. You can move the generated customization code into another file by setting the custom file variable. That concat will crash, will it? Okay, so I think that's pretty much all we can do with that. I mean, unless anybody else has a good idea for something else we could try to configure, it's pretty boring otherwise. I mean, we're just clicking around in the UI. I would much rather be writing code for configuration, obviously. I guess the last thing I wanted to do was to try... Oh, T makes a good point. Yes, great point, great point. So let's actually try it. Before we do this, before I... T made a good point about this custom file setting. Let me close Emacs really quick. No, not this Emacs. The internal Emacs. Thank you. So I'm going to run it, and you can see that the customizations are not there. And that's because I forgot to add load. Is it load or load file? Let's try load first. Custom file. If I were to use Control-X, Control-E. Okay, so that does actually load it. So you definitely need to use the load custom file after setting custom file to pull up the things that you've configured in your custom file. Okay, so the thing I wanted to do here is, tab bar mode is a little bit flaky for me in the build of Emacs that I have. You can see here that the clock is a little bit there, but the tab bar mode, or the tab bar show mode, tab bar mode, yeah, it doesn't display correctly sometimes. Mylan says, if installing a package via list package, also this custom file gets saved, can one prevent this? That's a great question. I don't know. So let's see. Package, list packages. Does it ask you if you want to save it only for the current session? Let's see. What do I want to install? Embark. Let's install Embark. Okay, so it pulls it up as a buffer here. If I click install, ask me if I want to install it. I don't think it installed it, did it? Yes, install it. Okay, that time it did something. However, I'll bet that it did actually save that inside of the custom file. Custom.el. Let's see, embark. Yep, it's now in package selected packages. So I don't know if there's a way. Let's see. What about... Come on. What is happening? Control H, V. What is it? Package. I'm trying to see if there's any variable for configuring that behavior. Yeah, okay. I don't think it has one for that, unfortunately. So it seems to automatically add it to your selected packages, but you have to invoke the installation on another machine, which is kind of one of the problems with that I see, is that anytime that you sync your configuration between machines, if you've done it this way, you have to remember to run the package. Jeez, man. What am I doing wrong? Package, install selected packages. Yeah, all your packages are already installed. Let's try that really quickly. That's one thing I did want to try. So I will save this. And then I'm going to go into Dired on my config. And let's see. Let me just jump into projects code, Emacs, customize UI. And then I'm going to delete the ELPA folder. So that will delete all the installed packages that we have here, which aren't many. So if I delete that folder, I'll kill the Dired buffer. I'll go back into my vterm, run Emacs again, and Vertigo is not loaded because it's not installed. If I were to try to run Vertigo mode, it's not there. So if I run package install selected packages, and it will go and grab all those packages from ELPA and non-GNU ELPA. I don't know what I just said yes to. I reflexively pressed Y. So now it's installing Evil and the other packages that I asked for. Question is, are they going to be set up afterward? Yeah, Vertigo is not set up. So if I exit Emacs, Control X C, and then run it again, I wonder if Vertigo will be set up. Yeah, it's not set up. So I wonder if the configuration needs to have, what is it? Load on startup. Package, load, no. Enable at startup, package enable at startup. Oh, it's true by default. Whether to make install packages available when Emacs starts if non-nil packages are made available before reading the init. Did I ever save the file with that information in it? Let's look at custom.el. Vertigo mode. Yeah, so Vertigo mode is on here, but it's interesting that it's not actually enabled. So that's kind of a problem. If you want to turn Vertigo mode on by default, then it seems like this is not enough. I wonder why. Is Vertigo mode... Come on, dude. Vertigo mode. So the package is not even loaded. It's like it has no auto loads. What about package activated list? Currently activated packages. So do you have to activate the package somehow? Or is that from loading it? Package activate? No. What's that do? Doesn't do anything. Okay. That's kind of weird. I don't know what the right approach is to make sure that a package is loaded such that it will show up. Anakin says, there's something about customizing startup stream without installing a package like dashboard. Someone had a good suggestion on the video from Monday. There's a variable called, oh, come on. Control HV. What is it called? Startup. There's a startup screen variable. Startup screen. That's not the one I want. Obviously, there is inhibit startup screen. Yeah. Inhibit startup message. No, that's not it either. So there is, let's try this. Customize. Startup. Oh. Whether to make installed packages available when Emacs starts. Is that what we looked at already? It's on. Okay. Can be used in conjunction with the initial buffer choice. You might be right. There's some way to set the string, I think, for that screen. It's like welcome. No. Okay. Come on. Let's check this setting. Initial scratch message. Initial. Let's check initial. Not what I thought it was. Obviously, initial buffer choice. You could send it to whatever you want. So initial buffer choice could be set to a buffer of your choosing, but you would have to create that buffer first, I think. So you would need a little bit of extra code, probably. Fancy splash screen. Fancy splash image. You could change whatever image gets shown there. It's kind of funny. Default or file. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought there was a way to change the actual contents of that startup screen, but apparently not, unless I missed it. See ya, Ashraj. Thanks for coming. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Just make sure to call load on that file. So that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything else to do to customize using the customize UI. I mean, obviously you can do a lot with it, but there are some issues. So one of them, which I should probably write down here, is not sure how to load a package by default so that it gets activated correctly, i.e. Vertigo. Whoa. So I'm going to put a little conclusion section here, I think. So I'm trying to think what else we could talk about right now, because we've reached the end of that part. We got another 20 minutes left. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I've been looking into lately with Emacs. One thing I have been looking at, which I have not got fully dialed in yet, and I don't think I have the configuration pulled on this machine, is improving my my EGLOT and Corfu configuration. Let's close that. And let's see, David Will /dot files. Load custom file, no error. Yeah, definitely. That's probably the better way to do it. Go into my Geeks Home config. I need to merge that into master because I'm kind of committed to this now. And then emacs.org. So I've been tweaking Corfu a bit, and it's kind of nice. But there's just like a little bit of stuff here and there that is not perfect that I need to address so that I can get it, really nice for my use cases. Using EGLOT with it, EGLOT has its own quirks as well, so I can't sometimes tell which is coming from EGLOT and which is coming from Corfu. So we'll have to look to investigate that a little bit more. But soon I'll try to make a video on Corfu for sure, and also EGLOT, I think, just because EGLOT's a nice alternative to LSP mode if you want something that is a little bit more integrated into sort of the default Emacs interfaces for things. LSP mode can also be like that, but I think LSP mode is sort of more driven towards heavy UI integration compared to what EGLOT does, which is a little bit more in the spirit of Emacs interface, I think. But they still have the same capabilities because with eglot, I've been able to do things like code actions, which I use pretty heavily in editing TypeScript code. And what else? The completions are pretty good. A little bit of issues with that because I think that eglot does not cache well, I think it maybe caches things, the completion results, but for some reason it doesn't filter them the way that I expect it to, which is what LSP mode does well. So that's one benefit of LSP mode over eglot, is that completions work a little bit better. Could be my fault for it not working perfectly though. I'm trying to think if there's anything else lately I've been doing in my config that would be interesting to discuss. Let's check the history really quick. Oh, apparently I've not pushed those changes because I've added stuff since Jan 5 for sure. Ander says it would be great to see a setup for Java with LSP. I know that Benoit's been working on one of those, but I'm not sure if it's up somewhere. It's probably on his repo. We can try to ask him for that at some point. I don't think he's on right now. Another thing worth talking about is off and on, I've been working on a possible starter Emacs configuration for a few different use cases. One could be if you want just like a good base configuration to use for building something on top of, or if you need to use it for like demoing Emacs features from a very simple configuration, which is something that I need to do every now and then. It's something that I'm thinking about opening up to the community to help with. I haven't got it up anywhere yet, but I'm in the early stages of getting that project organized, and I'm wondering if it would be fun to work on an actual starter Emacs configuration on stream for some of the streams that are coming up, just as something to do. I'm trying not to eat content for real videos in streams as much as I was before. Like I was making streams that, I could have probably made a video about some of this stuff. But it would be better if we had something that was more sort of live friendly on streams and not so much like something I would just make a video for some other purpose. So if people are interested in the possibility of working on a starter Emacs config, or actually an Emacs config you could use day to day on stream, we could do that. Jackson says, is it a beginner config for Emacs 28 or earlier? I mean, I would probably focus it on Emacs 28, but we would need to support 27 also to a large degree. Just because we don't want to leave people out who don't have access to the latest, because it's not shipped yet. So many distros don't have that, and also it's not really available very easily on Windows at the moment. You have to build it yourself. I do need to make a video about how to build Emacs though. That's going to be important. Mylan says, are you using Clang D or CCLS as backend for LSP eglot on CC++? I am using CCLS right now. I think I used Clang D in the past and found that CCLS worked better for me. But I've been writing a lot of C lately, as you may have seen on the Flux Harmonic channel. And CCLS has been working great for that. It's been really good. The only problem I've had is when I switched to using eglot primarily, and the completion candidates were not as easy to get to. I don't know if I can show that very easily. Let me actually try to pull that up. I'll show you. Well, no, it doesn't work here because I don't have the latest config. Crap. Let me see. Hold on a second. Maybe if I can push it from this computer, my other computer I have sitting here. I felt like I had pushed these things, but maybe I didn't. Yeah. I pushed those. Huh. Maybe I didn't. Let's check out the page again. Oops. Go back. So now let's refresh the page. Yeah, okay, so this is the more recent configuration. So, Corfu. Yeah, I've changed some things here. If I were to sync my whole config right now, I think we'd end up with problems. So what I'll do instead is jump into my Emacs config here, just copy and paste that configuration block. Corfu. And I'll paste this Whoa. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And then replace the other one with it. And then eval the block. All right. Then if I open up Flux Compose, which uses CCLS because it's a C project, then I can open up, graphics.c. Does it start the language server? No. eglot. Okay, so if I were to go, let's say right here and type in PRE, and then type V, sometimes it doesn't work right. I wonder if there's a better thing to use, like pthread, and then type EQ. Yeah, I don't know if it's just the way that I have the filtering set up, pthread. Sometimes it doesn't work. Whoa. Sometimes, let's see, pthread. Yeah, that's what it does. It's a very weird thing that it does sometimes, where pthread underscore O, that time it worked, but sometimes it like loses the completion completely. So CA. Yeah, like that. I don't know what's happening with that. It just all of a sudden just drops off. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with Corfu plus eglot, but you can see I'm actually getting completions for functions that are loaded inside this project. The only thing that was really necessary for that was to ensure that I have a compile commands.json file. That may also be needed for ClangD, but at least for CCLS, it was definitely needed. And that's something I have to say thank you to Ashraz for setting up the CMake project for this and have it generate compile commands so that it works. Yeah, so Mylan asked the next question, which is how do you generate compile commands? That's coming from CMake. We have this bootstrap.sh script. And yeah, so in CMake, there's a CMake flag that you can add to the CMake command for export compile commands equals yes. And that will put a compile commands file inside of your build folder. And if you just symlink that back into your main project folder, then eglot can pick that up, or CCLS can pick that up. So yeah, if you're using CMake, that's something you can generate. Other stuff that I might have been doing in my configuration lately, let's see, now that I actually have my more recent history pulled up. I've been playing around with skeletons a little bit. I don't know if you've heard of skeletons, but it's like a templating functionality inside of Emacs has been built in for a long time. That's not the one I want. I probably didn't even push that yet. Yeah, I probably didn't push that, but now I don't even remember what I was talking about. Skeletons, yeah. So skeletons are kind of like a not very well documented feature in Emacs. I think the Emacs wiki does a better job of like showing you how to use them. But if you excuse me, if you use like YaSnippet for snippets, I mean, this is something that is sort of similar to that, but it's built into Emacs. It's a little bit weird to use, though, I have to say. Like some of the older features of Emacs, it's sort of a little bit strange sometimes. So you can define a skeleton, which is effectively a template, like define skeleton, hello world skeleton, and you have just like a sort of a list of strings, and then this str variable, which is what the user is prompted for, and then it can just insert that automatically for you. Ramses, hello. Ramses says that there's also the Skeletor package. I haven't used that. Does it wrap it somehow? Powerful project skeletons. It's Chris Barrett. Let's see. Yeah, I saw this in the past and I forgot about it. Oh, this is for creating new projects. But that is pretty useful, though. Oh, boy. More spammers. Sorry, folks. A little bit of a cleanup job here. Let's see. Yeah, but skeletons are kind of interesting though if you want a built-in functionality for templated text that you want to insert. Emacs has, functionality for general automatic text insertion, like abbrev mode, which is something you can use along with skeleton. Yeah. So you can automatically insert customized templates. Abbrev mode is something I haven't really talked about before, but it is kind of cool. I need to use it a little bit more. There's effectively a way where you can have little prefixes you can type into your code and then I think hit tab and cause them to be expanded out. I believe that's the case, right? Let's see. Yeah, there's like an abbrev table. Let's see. Let's just copy this and see what we can do with it really quick. So let's go into Scratch. Run that. And then abbrev mode. POV. Let's see. Abbrev. Expand abbrev. Control X semicolon. It's semicolon. Single quote. My brain is not working anymore. Control X single quote. Point of view. All right, so that expands that thing. So you're basically defining little keywords effectively for things that get expanded. So like, excuse me, as far as I can tell, AFAICT Control X single quote, and then expands it out to that. So abbrev mode is pretty useful for this kind of thing. And Andres says YaSnippet. I don't really use YaSnippet that much. I probably should because it's going to be a lot better for some of the things I do. And since I do a lot of coding and I'm typing a lot of repetitive patterns, it would be useful to have code-focused snippets at the ready. So I'll probably play with that a bit more. Need to make a video on it at some point, but it's like I haven't used it enough in my own configuration to warrant it yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it for recent changes to config. I haven't gotten back to my Geeks Home config in a while because I've got some ideas I want to work on for it, but I've been so busy with the project for Flux Harmonic and also trying to get back into making system crafters videos again that I just have not gotten back into Geeks Home. I did get a nice email from Andrew Tropin a couple weeks ago about, talking a little bit about, integrations of Emacs and Geeks Home, or, writing Emacs config with Geeks Home. So that's maybe something that will materialize some discussion points at some point soon, I think. Might be cool. But yeah, I think that's it for this week. I don't know which video I'll do next week. I think I'm going to continue the new Emacs from Scratch series because people seem to be pretty happy with the video this week. So I might do the next Emacs from Scratch video and then switch to another topic the following week. Don't hold me to that. I can always change my mind at any time, just depending on how difficult it is to prepare the next video. So we'll just see what happens. But I am looking forward to working on that. I'm kind of surprised at how excited people are about seeing this series because I'm basically, I'm not really doing the same thing over again, but it is sort of, I'm retreading familiar ground. But I think it is from a different angle and it may make it useful to people. So I'm happy that people are happy about it. Lord Debbie says, I love Andrew Tropin. That guy has some amazing content too. Yeah, if you want some really deep dive content on Geeks and on Emacs, definitely check out Andrew Tropin's channel. Andrew Tropin, YouTube, it's right there. Before you continue to YouTube, you have to sign away your soul. All right, there we go. Yeah, so that's Andrew Tropin's channel. Just Andrew Tropin, just search for that, you'll find him. Custom GNU Linux live CD, cool. IRC in 2022, I need to watch that video. Okay, well that's it for today. Thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you back here next Friday. And before then, we'll probably have some System Crafters video out next week, so keep an eye out for that. And also, if you're watching the recording of this and you have any more thoughts on like what kind of topics you would like to see me maybe potentially make a book about, let me know in the comments or find me on the chats or send me a message by email or whatever and let me know. And anyway, thanks a lot, folks, and we'll see you next time. Happy hacking.